What's up y'all, it's T-Tar and the Chinese Riddler is back and we're gonna have some fun with it in this video. So last time we left off with this series of riddles hinting 7 heads, which we didn't know what it meant, but it ended with the idea that he was maybe talking about Diplin's evolution and that it would be based off the Yamara no Orochi in Japanese mythology. You know, some sort of corrupted evolution for Diplin in the same light as Blood Moon Ursaluna, so something not normally attainable. And it actually led to some really incredible renditions, like for example some like this, to show that initial idea of how a Diplin evolution could look as just like a twin-headed dragon. But then also like the one our boy Pen Paladin tagged me in, which is nothing short of incredible. You can already see it's a whole mess going on. But check it out, so we've got one head, another head, okay, 7 heads, and they're all coming out of this decayed apple. This was really good. It captures like one of 2 paths that the riddles made it sound like. So this one is an infested apple that's gone too far, with applins making it its home. It's almost like Diplin opened a Pandora's box in terms of applin behavior, like they should never work together or it'll eventually lead to something disgusting like this. You know, it has 7 heads coming out and then 7 markings here. Maybe technically there's an 8th applin here as the tail, but at this point, it's like they've mutated into one overall creature. And now I guess it's overtaken the apple with its own bug dragon typing, which isn't confirmed by the way. It looks like an infestation, right? I mean, this is the real deal of looking like food you left out. The other of the 2 paths, of course, is a more mythical design, more so accurate to that serpent, but this is Pokemon, so it's more likely they pick this goofy path. So that's where the riddles we've talked about so far stands, which is pretty cool, right? To imagine that we'd encounter some sort of Diplin evolution in the Indigo disc. But since then, we've had news. The Riddler has returned to tease more in the Indigo disc, and his latest teasings will cause us to rethink some things. So it all starts with this. This is the tweet, and it's a picture of Kieran. But the thing to note here is that Ku made him darker and then also highlighted his eyes with the same coloration that he implied for Doku Taro's eyes. So he's making him look very evil. It's only speculation that he's evil, but slowly as we look at these riddles more and more, it seems inevitable he's actually gonna play an evil role. So look at this. He says, "What will he snatch?" What does that mean? We can't really get snatched in this game. Our Pokemon can't get stolen. I mean, it's a Pokemon game, but you never know. What if it means Ogerpon? Like he finds a way to forcefully take it back. But then, the rest of his tweet. By the way, he is fully armed. So, hear me out. What if he finds a loophole in Blueberry's tech and uses it for his own? Maybe even a spin on Turo's ball locking mechanism where he locks your Pokeballs and takes Ogerpon. Of course, there's some complexities to that and it sounds wild, like it wouldn't happen, but at the same time, what will he snatch from you? This time in the second DLC. Ku's wording couldn't be more clear. He's gonna snatch something clearly. But he wrote this time, you know, it's not like he really snatched anything from us in the first DLC. Unless Ku means more like in the first DLC, we kind of snatched what he wanted. So now what is he gonna snatch this time? Which makes it sound more like Ogerpon. Can you release Ogerpon from your game? Oh my gosh! I figured it, kind of. Oh, I shouldn't talk about this right now. There is one Pokemon he could snatch. Our freaking Maridon. That's the only Pokemon we can't release or trade to another game. But what if, I mean, that would be crazy if he's using it against us in the final battle. Like, we can't ride Maridon on our final go down, because he freaking stole it. That's weird. Forget the Maridon for now. Can we release Ogerpon? It would make the most sense if he's robbing Ogerpon back. I want to see him. I want to see him sending out Ogerpon. He can't use any of the masks. He doesn't know how to use her, but he forcefully got her back momentarily. But yeah, so by the way, he is fully armed. That wording sounds like he has something else on top of his Pokemon. Him being fully armed isn't just his Pokemon. So in that vein that he has something else that leads to the wording, he is fully armed, it leads to the thought process of Doku Taro. If Doku Taro took over him and he's fully armed in this sense of being dangerous. I mean, think about it. If we encounter him again and he has that purple aura over his whole body this time, he probably has some weird powers attached to that. It could even be something like, remember Clara and Avery, how they cheated and put entry hazards on the field? It could be something like, if you're versing him and he's in his evil mode, that there's like a certain field condition always set. Like when you enter battle with them and you check your party, all your Pokemon are automatically poisoned and you can't heal it. Oh, that'd be sick. Gosh, there's so much Pokemon can freaking program into their game. Anyhow, last but not least, the last thing he could snatch is Terrapagus. If Blueberry uncovers everything about Terrapagus and then before they set out to meet it, they realize someone stole it, that sounds like this man right here. Terrapagus right now has no reason to cause a world-ending disaster. The closest way this sounds like it could happen is if Terrapagus ended up in a bad person's hands. It'd be badass if Terrapagus was actually being used by Kieran for a short period. This creature, which right now to us seems to be like infinitely powerful. God, I gotta check back in with that Karada Miraidon idea. That sounds too possible. You know what, as weird as that sounds, because he should be getting Ogerpon, I'm stamping that as the theory. He's gonna snatch our ride Pokemon. Don't know what help it's gonna give him. Anyhow, there are some interesting replies in the comments. Check this out. Unrelated kinda, but how would you rate the Diplin evolution? Is it cool or disappointing? So, all this time we've only been speculating, does Diplin evolve? Ku's response is, it suits Kieran. He's evolving. This weirdo's evolving. Also, it suits Kieran. Whatever could that mean? We won't know now, but maybe similar appearance or similar colors. Like Kieran's design has this magenta and yellow. Maybe if coincidentally it takes on those colors. Next response. But did he succeed? Did Kieran succeed? This is in terms of the snatching. Ku says, it's like the case of Schrodinger's cat. So this is a non-answer. He's kind of saying he does succeed and doesn't succeed at the same time. Ah yes, we all are. We're all scared to see Kieran's nose reveal. Here's one, my boy Kieran about to become Dr. Octopus, which Ku responds to, but this is a reference to that Doku Taro idea. Which the Doku Taro idea is pretty much something like this art here, where Doku Taro just taken over Kieran. Ku says, he's the one who knocks. Which I can't tell what this means, but my best guess is that Kieran comes after us rather than him just waiting somewhere. You know, he's the one that knocks, which is kind of crazy sounding. My boy's making moves. When someone asks if it just means he has like a full team of strong Pokemon like level 80s, Ku says physically full armed. Bro, this is seriously sounding like he's turning into this. He's physically fully armed. How can you be physically fully armed? If it's not a gun or like muscles, he's got that demon aura all around him. At this point, this man is a Pokemon. Alright, but now to get into the butter of this video, Ku's newest riddle. And it sparks a different speculation. Here's the tweet. It's a picture from an anime, and he says, something similar would happen in Sudachi 2, second DLC. So this picture, well, it's actually from right to left. It's a girl in a show that has a special power. So something similar would happen in the second DLC. If we deduce this right, this special power is the correlation. It's the key to what happens in the second DLC. So what she does is she makes little dongos from her cheek, and they actually secretly contain her power. They're like little magical food. And when she feeds this to animals, they immediately start to obey her. This is the key to the second DLC, right? Dongos from her cheek. Remember Momotaro? He had dumplings with them that he fed to the animals along the way to befriend them to fight the ogre. So if we were to make these counterparts, it's like we can put her in the shoes of this Doku Taro, and her giving them their toxic chains and making them obey her. That has to be what Ku's trying to say here. Something similar would happen in the second DLC. Which makes you think, imagine there was a way to remove the toxic chains from the Loyal 3 and they become substantially weaker and lose the purple on them, but imagine they start to smile and look more positive. It would almost imply to us that they weren't actually greedy Pokemon, they were just doing what Momotaro told them to. And then the final riddle, responding to Dongo Girl here, he posts this. And this is what turns kind of crazy. So it's a picture of white, blue, red, and so on. These are mochi. These are items introduced in the Teal mask from Ogre Ousting, and all 7 are available. What they do is just mess with your EVs. So when he initially posted this, it led to some fun theories, like Dante here, who noted these colors quite well make the rainbow in the visible spectrum. But check this out. There's a caption to this photo. He wrote, coherence. All clues come together. Now something's turning. Look at the number of these. Remember the riddles? Counting up to the heads? We landed on 7, right? there are 7 of them here. The mochis themselves aren't the answer here. And there's no solid answer to this riddle yet, but hear this. What if the 7 heads aren't about Diplin's evolution at all? What if Diplin's evolution really is closer to that first art I showed you? And so what if the 7 heads is actually talking about Doku Taro and his ability to control 7 heads at once? Let that settle in. Then think about there being zombies in the code, zombie NPCs, then one called Zombie Man and Zombie Old. What if these zombies are linked to the bodies that Doku Taro has taken over, and Kieran is just one of them, or the main one? Maybe something like once Doku Taro emerges in the world and gets a main host, then it can branch out and get 6 others. This is all too wild sounding, but there's one last thing I want to show you. It's an old tweet Ku posted a month ago saying, "Who would you save?" And there's a picture of Nimona, Arvin, and Penny. Who would you save? What did he mean by this? We never got an answer, and we know characters aren't gonna die in the game, especially not depending on our options. What if it's this? At a moment in the game, 2 of these are the ones that fall under the other 6 heads, and they end up as NPCs that we have to fight, with only one of them on our side. And maybe the decisions you make earlier in the Indigo disc determine who doesn't get temporarily controlled. But this is all starting to line up, and Doku Taro is beginning to look crazier than ever. It went from just being an Easter egg of like a 4th optional loyal legendary, to maybe playing a plot role in the story, to maybe being the one possessing Kieran right now and playing a huge role in the story. I mean, that purple energy when he punches the pillars doesn't lie. There's definitely something happening here. Kieran may be patient 0 of this whole 7-head scheme, like the main host of Doku Taro. And now I will shut my mouth. Y'all let me know in the comments what role you think Doku Taro will play in this, and whether the 7 heads riddles is about it or Diplin's evolution. We got more to talk about. I'll do that next time. See y'all there. Take care.